I'm not feeling anything. Maybe no. Then to the knees and the thigh, then we can move up to the body. So the abdomen usually movement is taking place, which can be easily felt. So you can be aware of that. And in the chest also similarly something is happening, you can be aware of it. Then the bottom is touching it, so this is our weight, so we can feel the pressure there. Then the back, lower back and the upper back similarly can go up. And then we can come to the hands, the right hand, same thing, go up from here. And left hand, go up to this. Then see the face, then see the back of the head, come up to the top head where the hair are. So this way we can scan the whole body and just feel what is happening. So in the process of doing it, the mind will wander away here and there, and all kinds of thoughts will come. So as soon as the mind wanders away, or as soon as you discover that the mind has wandered away, just stop. Relax, relax, and come back to your attention. That is the simplest thing to start with. So later, when you become more proficient, you can put your attention on the breathing process, the breath going in, going out. Deepak was mentioning you had attended that Anapan. So if you are comfortable with that, you can just do that. But if you do the body observation simultaneously, it will have a more strong effect. So whatever you feel comfortable, just do it. The main idea is just to be relaxed and not get tense about things. There will be a tendency for the mind to get tense. I'm not feeling that, I'm not feeling this, wandering mind. So just be aware. As soon as you be aware, relax, and then shift your attention back to the object of attention. That's how we practice to begin with. after praises, मन भटकता रहा, कोशिश करते रहे। आप मन भटक रहा धीरे धीरे जैसे इम्पैक्ट होने लगता है तो मन भटकता है। जैसे भटके फिर जैसे याद आए फिर शुरू करें। प्रैक्टिस बड़ा है। Rajesh, so this is the last chapter now.
छिन्न सूक्तम परकंपम
Parakamma
कामे पुनः ब्राह्मण संकारं खैम यत्वा अकथयन्ति ब्राह्मण।
So translation में क्या है?
चलिए थोड़ा सा मुश्किल है। छिंद मतलब काटना।
छिंद कहते हैं, छिंद में काटना। संस्कृत में छिंद सोतम, स्ट्रीम।
अच्छा, स्ट्रीम को काटना, स्ट्रीम एंट्री,
स्ट्रीम ऑफ द लाइफ स्पैन, जो स्ट्रीम जिसमें हम फंसे हुए हैं, भव सागर की स्ट्रीम है, कैसे काटना है? पराक्रम करना, you have to put an effort.
कामे पुनः ब्राह्मण।
Anuda means remove, मैंने दिया है ना इसमें। Anuda means remove the spell, drive away. So जो कामनाएं हैं उनको drive them away. So it says, O Brahman, cut off the stream, be energetic, drive away desire. Stream meaning stream of repeated becoming. संखारानाम खयन ज्ञात्वा, ज्ञात्वा तो जानकर, संखारों का क्षय, having realized the destruction of the sankhara, of the conditioned things. अकत अन्यूसी ब्राह्मण, अकत जो अनक्रिएटेड है, उसको अन्यूसी, उसको जानो। So you should know the uncreated of Brahman. So that is the definition of Brahman. That is what he is expected to do. So he didn't want to say all Brahmins are exploiters and this and that. He instead told them what is a proper law. So that is the story is also similar. Stories about a Brahmin who used to invite monks and he used to, out of respect, address them in Arhant. तो उन monks को बुरा लगता था कि Arhant बहन प्राणी के बार-बार हमको ऐसा कहते हैं. So he stopped going to there. तो जब ब्राह्मण आया, पूछा ये आना क्यों बंद कर दिया उन्होंने? So when asked the monks, they told him the reason. So वो तो आपको out of respect ही कह रहा है. He's not trying to denigrate you. So since he is saying it, why not become it? So he spoke this verse and told them that we should uproot the stream of suffering and realize the destruction of conditions. So that's why he advised them to become a true Brahman. So,
यदा द्रव्येषु धर्मेषु परागु होति ब्रह्मणो अथस सर्वे संयोगा अर्थम गच्छति जानते.
Write out. यदा मतलब जब
द्रव्येषु
दो द्वे मतलब दो द्वे धर्मों से दो धर्म की दो चीजों को सारगु पार हो जाता है, क्रॉस ओवर कर देता है, होती ब्राह्मण. So if a Brahmin is crossed over to the opposite shore in respect to two things, then those two things come out in the story. And then अर्थस्य शब्द संयोग, अर्थस्य रेस्ट हो जाते हैं सारे, अर्थ में पहुंच जाते हैं, कंक्लूजन में पहुंच जाएंगे. संयोग में जितने भी बॉन्ड्स हैं, अर्थम गच्छन्ति ज्ञान, and the person knows that all these bonds are disappearing. जितने भी हमारे bonds हैं disappearing, fetters disappearing. So the Brahmin is crossed over to the opposite shore in regard to two things. What are those two things? One is tranquility, the other is insight meditation. Then all the bonds of such a knowing, this story में आ जाती है about a group of monks who came to see the Buddha. When Venerable Sariputta realized he was near achieving arahantship, and therefore there was a tradition there. So if you would find something, किसी में कोई कमी है, तो Sariputta would ask that question to the Buddha, so that their reply of the Buddha will clarify that. The same thing, he approached Buddha and asked him a question for the benefit of the monks. And what were the two things that bring about disappearance of all fetters? Then Buddha replied with this verse, saying that two things were tranquility and insight meditation.
यस्य पारम अपारम वा पारापारम न विज्जति वीतद्धरम विसंयुक्तम तमहं ब्रूमि ब्राह्मणम्.
Interesting. Up to
पारम मतलब उस पार, अपारम मतलब इस पार, अपारा पारम मतलब दोनों, इधर और उधर. न विज्जति
नहीं
जानते.
For whom they don't exist.
Yeah, for
whom there is neither this shore
nor that shore, nor both shores.
One interesting there.
वीतद्धरम
Dharam means dar. इसलिए डर को
जैसे वीतराग होता है वैसे वीतधर. fearless. विसंयुक्तम मतलब जो संयुक्त नहीं है, जो अटैच्ड है. तमहं ब्रूमि ब्राह्मणम्, उसको मैं ब्राह्मण कहता हूँ.
For whom there is neither this shore nor the opposite shore nor both the shores. He is fearless and detached. Normally he would say, cross over the shore and go to the other shore. Here he is putting it in a different way. So this is in reply to Mara. So that's the important thing. according to this story, that is the Mara is a personification of the Yama, he was the king of death. Just benefiting for the benefit of the new friends. So once Mara approached the Buddha and asked him what does the word para mean. So since he knew it was Mara, so he replied him saying this. That other shore is Nirvana, and only Arhants can reach there. And then they don't matter which shore they are. Last chapter 2. Jhain Virajam Asmi Virajam Sinam Virajam Asinam. Jhain Virajam Asinam. Asinam बैठा हुआ. Katakicham Anasavam Uttam Artham Anupattam Tamham Brahma. ध्यान को जो ध्यान करता है, विरजम आसीन, विरजम मतलब स्टेनलेस है, आसीन मतलब बैठा हुआ है, सेटल्ड है. कत किच्चम अनासम, कत डूइंग किच्चम कर लिया, जिसने कृतकृत्य हो गया, जिसने कर लिया सब कुछ. अनासवम इज विदाउट एनी आशा, विदाउट एनी टेम्स. उत्तम अर्थम अनुपत्तम, जो उत्तम अर्थ को, हाइएस्ट गेन को हुआ अटेन. Tam hum Brahma. I call him Brahma. So the story is very interesting about a Brahmin. He thought कि हर एक को अपने डिसाइपल को ब्राह्मण ही कहता रहता है, जब तो है ब्राह्मण, आते अलग अलग कास्ट के हैं. So he asked him, what does he mean by Brahman? And then this explanation is given. That one does not become Brahmin by birth, but by intelligent practice of Brahman. That is this fourth verse. So this whole chapter is devoted to explaining that Brahmans are not by birth but by actions and deeds. You want the book? Okay.
नहीं सब ये जो जिसमें लिखा है वो
नया चैप्टर शुरू करना है ना.
नहीं
अभी भी शुरू करना.
वजन बनता से
कौन सा बदल का
मैंने अलग लगाया था पावर
पावर का. अच्छा,
पता लग रहा था कि कम हो गई, चार्जिंग हो गई. आपको भेजा नहीं, सुलेश का भी Shankar actually said that he does not have high bandwidth connection for several needs.
उसमें भी नहीं है.
मुझे एक्चुअली जैसे कहीं ट्रैवलिंग कर रहे थे मोबाइल पे, तो वो मोबाइल पे वहाँ पे थोड़ा आई थिंक कर रहा है. इसी तरह से मैं अगर तो ऑडियो कर सकता हूँ वीडियो ना.
पर्पस पर्पस बताया गया है. Ekra talks of two purposes, here and outer. Yes, sir. This course is like one.
So I can just give a quick recap, high level summary, whatever I remember. So the first chapter is about the flowering of human conscious, flowering of human conscious. And the author takes this example of flowers, that the flowers are so beautiful, there is an inherent beauty, and there is a disconnect between the plant and the flower which grows on the plant. Flower represents the blooming of the consciousness. Uh, at some level of some realization, and then the author wants to equate human consciousness with that we can have this widespread flowering of human consciousness, that we awaken to the inner purpose. And so in few chapters the author is trying to tell what is ego and what is the current state of humanity, what is the core of the ego, and so the author says that we get attached to this identity of I, which develops as we grow, and the child initially gets attached to possibly his name when his parents call him with his name. So he at some age associates the name with himself. Then he associates the toy with himself, that this is his toy. And as we grow up, these toys are replaced by other things in the life, and we bring that association of me and I-ness. And along with the I, the biggest attachment comes to the body, which we regard as ours, and strongly get attached to our body. So the author is also trying to tell how does this ego manifest. And the example the author gives is about the reactivity and grievances, that we get possibly the external circumstances, or we grasp through our senses the external stimulus, and then we react with unpleasantness, and we try to complain that this is not what I want, and then we want to change it, and this becomes the core of the ego, and leads to all the mass of suffering. The author also mentions that the ego plays various roles. Initially, when the civilizations developed, there was no hierarchy, but as the people get specialized in the fields, these roles developed, and then these roles, then people were attached to those roles, and it became hierarchical, and the sort of ego developed. And also the author says that sometimes in our life we take the role of parent or a boss in the office, and then we start taking those roles seriously. And sometimes, like in the position we have, like the company head or being a president of the country, we take those roles, and those roles sort of, I think the author mentions that the roles also bring in some kind of dictatorship and eagerness attached to them. And then the author says that in the role playing, there can be this collective ego of the nations, where one nation believes in a particular thought, and like a quick example is that most of the Indians, when they talk about Pakistan, they have this certain idea which we have made, and no matter whether Pakistan is that or not, we get attached to those collective ego as a nation. And the author also talks about the pain body concept, and pain body concept the author explains is that we have this deep residing painful emotions which keep coming on the surface, and they replenish themselves and then they go back, and when they come on the surface we have all this negativity, and we sort of connect with the negativity of other people, and we react, and we possibly get angry. And so, giving this various phases of ego, then the author talks more about realizing your true self. He has this chapter called Breaking Free, where he asks you to see your pain body and possibly not get overcome by your pain body. And there are other short stories the author mentions, and there is a story of Is That So, where the Zen monk refuses to identify the current situation as good or bad, or trying to label. He accepts whatever comes as it is. And there is a section, the dreamer and the dream, and this is a bit of Vedantic concept, but the author says is that we are the dreamer who are in a dream, and one dream passes and we take the second stream, but the dreamer is the underlying consciousness which we can awaken to. And the last chapter, chapter 8, which we studied, was the discovery of the inner space. So the author says is that by this discovery of inner space, a change can, so you can realize your true self, or the consciousness you are. And he gives us small examples by which one can do that. And one simple example he gives is of a breath, that when you are conscious of your breath, so at that moment your thinking subsides and you are not associated with your thinking. And another thing he says is about the noticing the gaps. He says that as we perceive the things, we try to react to the things, and then we are caught in that loop, that external stimulus comes and we react. But before that, when the external stimulus comes and before we react, there is a sort of comprehending of what's happening, and if that duration increases, you can see the inner consciousness manifesting more itself. And then author talks about the stillness that possibly when you have the so stillness is the another way by which you can discover the inner space. And now we are the second last chapter, your inner purpose. And so author tries to have both the views. So he talks about the inner purpose, and along with that he talks about the outer purpose. The outer purpose is what we do as living, the society in which we live, and how can the outer purpose align with your inner purpose. And the author tries to give the examples that whenever the outer purpose is misaligned with the inner purpose, that's the cause of the suffering we face in the life. And I'll move to the.
Why is he doing it? Why is he discussing on this? What is the title of it?
Okay, the title of the book is New Earth, and so possibly what the author says is that for thousands of the years we are stuck in this voice of our head, which is the thinking, and whatever we perceive or whatever we think, we have been taking it to be true, and we forget to align with the purpose of why we are here. And then the author says that as more and more people are able to manifest or see the boundless, possibly awaken to your inner purpose, there will be a new consciousness which will emerge on the earth. That talked about will be the new earth. So,
and he's actually pointing, why has he written the book is that if we don't do that, if that does not happen, the earth will not be able to survive. The humanity as a whole is passing through a period, he mentions, you remember, about 20th century, the kind of violence that has taken place, both in terms of people dying, also in terms of environment dying. And that attempts to solve this problem in the domain of thinking would not work. If you think that you can work your way out through thinking and bring harmony in the world and within ourselves. So it is the whole problem of hello. Good morning. I'll call you after some. So what he's trying to say is that if this transformation does not happen, you will be in deep trouble. You will not survive beyond another century, either due to violence or due to pollution, environmental problems, and the associated problems which will arise of threatening the survival. And you can see the situation today in terms of climate change, in terms of violence. Both of them are quite grave. So what he's pointing out is that the solution to that will not lie in just making some rearrangement here and there. It will lie only when we awaken to the new consciousness, which means see through because the root cause of the problem has been egoic identity. We have identified ourselves with our ego and we've not investigated what is the true nature of that. And just some story which we have made in our mind, which we happen to remember because of our memory, we think we are that, and that therefore we try to really live up to that story, defending ourselves, positioning ourselves at a higher level or a lower level, and then conflicts arise. So unless this root of the conflict is removed, there will be problems. So what he is proposing is that unless people awaken, there is no possibility of, unless a sufficient number of people awaken and there is an impact on the others, another 100 years and there will be turmoil of the highest order. So that's why he has written this book, to bring out that in various ways, various metaphors and stories and analysis of the present situation from the philosophic point of view. What exactly is the true nature of being and what we have assumed it to be. That is the crux of this book. So here we are going to now study about the purpose. Our inner purpose and the outer purpose. In one word, he says inner purpose is to awaken and outer purpose is to see how we live in the society, how we take care of our physical needs. So one is the being, other is the doing. Then these are the kind of words he uses. Being what we are, and doing things which I think you better understand. Just deeper two things.
Meanwhile, also the Christian concept here, which is I'm forgetting this name.
Yeah, there is some concept in that. Because he is addressing the communities in the West, so he tries to use the Christian metaphors to make the people less hostile. There's a whole series of Christian fundamentalists who equate him with devil. So there's a huge set of people who are in that kind of appreciate him and equally huge who depreciate him.
In any of his YouTube videos,
You'll always find
the big fight going on between the Christian fundamentalists and the rest of the people who follow him. They go on and thousands and hundreds of comments.
yeah.
Almost every video we have that. As if people who don't agree with Eckhart go and listen to him also. Occasionally.
Threatened. वो ऐसा होता है ना, उनको कोई दोस्त बताया था कि जरा देख लो, and then that creates a reaction.
So this inner purpose and outer purpose, I have been discussing one way that I have been looking at is let go kind of attitude towards life. And I discussed this with people from our discussions. And I felt that I have I think one of the things that I have gone through and many of us with the let go has been taking the let go to the external circumstances and the slippery slope or the near enemy of let go is inaction. We discussed that several times. So the way I wanted to look at it, just wanted to discuss this with you. I start to look at it from this perspective of, am I letting go of my inner response to the situation, which is, am I resisting the situation, am I not taking it the way it is, or versus my outer response, which should be a natural outcome of what needs to be done. And I started to say that the most important form is of the let go is to make sure that I do a let go at my inner response, and after that I take the outer action, and then I started to see that most of the time when I was doing in a non-action or trying to go away from ठीक है रहने देते हैं इसको नहीं करते, because in the end most of the times external let go happens when you are not comfortable with the outcome because you want to run away from it, and then you see कि actually वो आपने आउटकम के ऊपर ही अपना इंटरनल लेट गो नहीं किया है, तभी यू आर ट्राइंग टू गो टुवर्ड्स एन एक्शन. एंड that's why I started to say that if I am leaning towards inaction, I have to really see whether I am internally accepting the situation or not. That was one of my ways to detect that near enemy. So I'm not sure whether he's talking about inner purpose and outer purpose, because when I saw these two things, kind of.
I think it talks more about finding your inner purpose. It says that when you have the inner purpose, outer purpose will automatically flow out.
The outer purpose is the response to circumstances.
That's also
What to do in this situation.
discover what.
And what to do internally is what is he talking about is to just
What to do externally also should be in alignment with our alignment in a way. So we can do even without alignment also. When there is struggle, we fight, tension, achievement, promotion, all these kind of problems will be there. So by hard work, you can achieve something in the outer world also, without being aligned. But then there is tension and you end up in all these things which you do. If you are aligned, then you do it with joy. If the understanding is clear, there is a brief, I think we can see deeper. Tell us about it more.
okay. So also sums up in the first line that your inner purpose is to awaken. And what is awakening? How to awaken? We'll talk in the next section. And the author clearly says that your outer purpose can change over time. It varies greatly from person to person. Finding and living in alignment with the inner purpose is the foundation for fulfilling your outer purpose. And then the author says is that like many times we try to force ourselves by will, like I want to wake up in the morning and I want to do jogging, I want to reduce weight. And it says that unless it is aligned with the inner purpose, it can give us a lot of, it can bring some change, no doubt, but it can bring a form of suffering also. And as the author says, without that alignment, you can achieve certain things through effort, struggle, determination, and sheer hard work or cunning, but there is no joy in such endeavor, and it invariably ends in a form of suffering. Possibly the author equates that when you have this, so when you are aligned with your inner purpose, whatever you do in outer world, you will be more calm and peaceful. And then the next section is about the awakening, and then author tries to show that awakening is a shift in consciousness in which thinking and awareness separate. And as we've read many times, that we take out the voice in our head to be true, and most of the times we get attached to thinking process. And that's what the author says, that awareness is different from the thinking. And the way he probably explains that awareness happens before thinking. And then the awareness...
Awareness doesn't happen, it is.
Yes. Awareness is what it is before the thinking happens. Awareness is conscious connection with universal intelligence. There isn't a So the next thing is very beautiful that when we take a concept and when we try to grasp it, and he says that there isn't a tidy sequence of logical steps that leads toward it, although the mind would love that. Whatever you do will be the ego trying to add awakening or enlightenment to itself as the most prized possession, and thereby making itself more important and bigger. Instead of awakening, you add the concept of awakening to your mind or the mental image of what awakened or enlightened person is like, and then try to live up to that image. So, and many times we discuss this so many times, it becomes true in our meditation also, that once we have done one camp, we do regular meditation, we try to separate ourselves from others and say that we are doing something better, and we have this sense of pride, and then we sort of grasp those ideas. And so, but then here is this paradox which author is saying, that so you are here for awakening and being aligned with the inner purpose, but then the author says that there isn't a tidy sequence which you can follow to grasp the awareness. And but the author mentions that you can have the glimpse of awareness, and once you have these glimpses of awareness, then you have taken the first step towards it, and it will lead you towards that. Once you had a glimpse of awareness or presence, you know it firsthand. It is no longer just a concept in your mind. You can then make a conscious choice to be present rather than indulge in useless thinking. You can invite presence into your life, that is to say, make space.
This will convert into common words here. I mean, this I think is a very important problem, that we are not able to distinguish between awareness and thinking. So unless we this issue, a glimpse of awareness, if you don't have, then you will always keep on getting into trouble. Whether you are a meditator or not, it doesn't matter.
You will think about awareness.
Yes.
नहीं, but लेकिन जब awareness आएगी,
ऐसा नहीं है. The thinking is also happening in awareness. How else can it happen otherwise? Awareness means being conscious. You can separate consciousness, isn't it? So when you are aware of your thinking, when you are aware कि मुझे गुस्सा आ रहा है, when you are aware, so that faculty जिससे हमको ये मालूम पड़ता है कि मुझे गुस्सा आ रहा है, वो नहीं कि मैं गुस्से में हूँ तो उससे गुस्सा भी अवेयरनेस नहीं आ रहा है. ऐसा नहीं, गुस्सा कहीं अलग से किसी और, वो भी कॉन्शियसनेस नहीं है. दैट इज ऑल्सो अ फंक्शन ऑफ कॉन्शियसनेस, बट देन यू आर कॉट इन इट. उसको गड्ढमड हो गया, पता ही नहीं चला. बट द मोमेंट वन इज अवेयर मतलब उसको जानकारी हो गई कि अच्छा मेरे मन में ऐसा विचार आ रहा है, गुस्से का विचार. दैट इज अंग्रेजों ने तरह के वर्ड बनाया मेटा कॉन्शियसनेस. देयर इज कॉन्शियसनेस, देयर इज higher level of consciousness which becomes aware कि मैं सोच रहा हूँ. जब हम ध्यान करते हैं तो what is it that tells us कि मन भटक गए? ठीक है ना? वो तो हम सोच के तो नहीं करते, अपनी तरफ से तो नहीं करते कि मन भटक जाए. अपने आप ही भटक जाता है, अपने आप ही याद आ जाता है, अरे मुझे तो ऐसे मन को वापस लाना था. So that is a kind of function of awareness. Where it tries to bring it back. Mindfulness जो है उनको वापस ला. So these are all the kind of intimations of it. उसकी ओर अगर हम ध्यान नहीं देंगे तो फिर हम एक वो मैकेनिकली करते हैं. वो अलग है, थिंकिंग अलग है, चलती रहेगी. बट the awareness of thinking, अगर हम ये कहें कि मुझे विचार आया तो उस तरह से अवेयर नहीं है. That is the practice. जैसे हम कहते हैं कि हम बैठे हुए हैं you feel what is happening in the foot. And then there is a feeling of the foot, there is a consciousness which is aware that there is a foot, and there is a consciousness which is aware कि मैं इस पाँव को देख रहा हूँ. ठीक है. एक तो ये है कि मैं पाँव में क्या हो रहा है उसको जान रहा हूँ. दूसरा ये है कि मैं ये कर रहा हूँ. एक लेवल इस तरफ की कॉन्शियसनेस ऑपरेट कर रही है कि वो सोच रहा हूँ, मैं सोच रहा हूँ. दूसरा ये है कि अरे मैं जान रहा हूँ कि मैं सोच रहा हूँ. फर्क है. उस डिफरेंस को अगर हम नहीं पकड़ेंगे तो देन विल बी कॉट फॉरएवर.
तब जान रहा हूँ
सच में तो होना है ना. वो ये कहने की बात कि करना है.
मतलब जब हो रहा है तभी तो आप जानेंगे कि कुछ हो रहा है.
हाँ, और जैसे ही आप जानेंगे कि मैं सोच रहा हूँ, शांत हो जाएगा, अपने आप ही रुक जाएगा. वो आगे बढ़ ही नहीं सकते. रेंज योर अवेयरनेस लेवल टू हायर लेवल, वो अपने आप आपको इधर उधर थोड़ा बहुत चलेगा, फिर शांत हो जाएगा, रुक जाएगा. बहुत ज़्यादा अगर इम्पैक्ट है किसी विचार का तो फिर रुक जाएगा, फिर आपको भावभूत कर लेगा, फिर आप जान रहे अरे फिर उठ गया, फिर बैठ जाएगा. So that is the difference. Once you realize, unless you realize the difference between the two, you are always trapped in mechanical doing of the things. So then you will not be in a position to see this shift in consciousness. Will not happen. You remain in a make believe.
जैसे हमें ध्यान आता है, हम दीपक में रहते हैं, तो मेरा मन भटक गया, तो अवेयरनेस आ गई ना, तो अब कैसे धीरे धीरे थोड़ा रुक जाता है, फिर भटक जाता है.
That is the awareness part. The one which tells us what I am doing. So उसको ध्यान देना है. I think yes, stories.
मेरा वो एक स्वरूपानंद का जो आपने देखा था, उसमें वो कौन देखने वाला कौन है, क्या देख रहा है, फिर उसके पीछे एक देखने वाला और है. फीलिंग दैट एक है जिसको गुस्सा आया, एक है कि अच्छा मुझे गुस्सा आया और मैं देख रहा हूँ, एक है कि मैं हूँ. वो एक और फंडामेंटल लेवल ऑफ अवेयरनेस है कि मैं हूँ एंड मैं गुस्से को देख रहा हूँ. So I mean, he was making a point कि there are levels and then who is what. ये मैं हूँ, ये किस सबस्ट्रेटम में आ रहा है. So जो from what this arises, he was trying to just go back to the source kind of exercise. तो मुझे वो याद आ रहा था इसकी. अच्छा वो एक्सप्लेनेशन इसी तरह से था कि वो who is watching what.
So IIT कानपुर में there is this विवेकानंद समिति who organize these talks. वहाँ पे ये आए थे रामकृष्ण मिशन के प्रिंसिपल थे.
तो यंग
very young monk and पूरा जैसे लाइफ ऐसे नहीं थी. He did an MBA from Kanpur Institute and he left that. So he is very good at explaining
connecting with the young
population.
उसका वो
explain किया उन्होंने diagram में.
वो याद आया मुझे थोड़ा सा.
So one thing, the way I want to explain is, and then sir you can correct it, is that so many times now what happens is that one is there in all kind of situations. There are situations where one doesn't want to be, but one has to be, and then you can build up. Thinking starts and you have some negativity in you. And so earlier what happens is that once you take those thoughts of your head to be true, then one flows with it and one says that this is a reality which I am seeing, that the other person is not doing, the other person is not good, or he is doing this right or he is doing that wrong. But one shift which happens is that you don't, you have this option of saying that whatever I am thinking is not true, or I don't fully trust these what these thoughts are coming about the other person or about the situation, and then there is shift where you can see that this reactivity is happening, but still you are not reacting to that reactivity, and you don't say that yes, that reactivity is right. So that is
When
what.
you say what you're thinking is not true, means
What I'm saying is that you just recognize that this reactivity is happening, and I don't want to label. So you discredit it. You can do what you want to do. I won't try to. You can't shake me. Once you get so once you flow with it, it will eventually shake you. It will upset you, and you will have these cravings, and you will have these wants and suffering. And because you are one with that situation and one with that reactivity.
There is a danger of what Rajesh is saying, that sometimes when you say here, I don't want to react to this, you are basically escaping the situation. You are essentially saying that it's your mechanism to protect yourself. You say, मुझे नहीं झंझट में पड़ना या मैं नहीं ध्यान देना चाहता. So then you are not, because we are not at a level where we can be like that forever, right? Because we will have to face situations again and again. If we don't do the right thing at that situation, being aware, then we have escaped and the situation will come back. So that danger,
yes, inner response to my own feelings and what is happening with me.
Right.
This is an outer response to my thinking.
Yes.
separate करना जरूरी है.
Yes, it is separated.
It's like आप जब बच्चे को डांट रहे हो तो आप actually गुस्सा नहीं हो. It's गुस्सा होना, हाँ, हो भी सकते हो.
कई बार होता है
किसी को आप जोर से बोल रहे हो तो आप यू मे बी शोइंग एंगर और यू मे बी
Angry.
both the
But it
things.
is sometimes it is important to show anger.
Yeah.
But if you don't do that because you think you want, then that's an escape, sort of.
Yeah. Is that near enemy always remains.
Always remains.
So showing anger and being angry, I don't know आपको कॉन्टेक्ट about we कभी डिस्कस करते रहते हैं इंटर देयर डिस्कशन. So I'm trying to show anger, and I feel that I just showed anger, but after 5 minutes I feel कि अंदर burn हो रहा है. So I got angry also.
Yeah.
I started by showing anger, but then my body tells me कि नहीं कहीं तो
Something I got carried away.
something happened.
Yeah.
Then though I'm thinking कि नहीं मैंने खाली show किया.
It happens. It happens with everyone. Because with practice, slowly we become better actors. Take up the roles very quickly. But it's not easy. It does happen. You're very right. While attempting to show anger, we get carried away because we get impacted by the situation. You use harsh words and strong words, or raise your voice. That has effect on the body unless we are aware of it. It's can impact there. But with practice, it can.
Because recently I was in the second level of awareness, and I've been contemplating this thing that I found that rather than putting things in a manner where you say this should be like this, versus just putting a question that what is it like? That changes identification. For example, when you see that you are feeling bad, you can start to think that I should not be feeling bad, versus what are you feeling? Putting the question, what are you feeling, disassociate yourselves with the feeling rather than saying that I should not be feeling bad.
Should not is not necessary for a good meditation. In the beginning, it's important. When you are beginning the process of transformation, it is important, but later it can become a bondage. That's why when you do the Vipassana, there is no should there. non-awareness. Even mention of Sheila is not there. No mention of precepts, straight observation. But then that, before as I say, before you come to not doing, lot of doing. There's a lot of doing before you can come to state of non-doing, which is very important.
So I found these two questions that I'm using a lot in my daily life. These two questions. For example, as soon as the awareness is back and I ask this question, what does it feel? That takes away from the identification with the feeling. When you are not the feeling, and the next question I ask is, who is it feeling? What is it that it's feeling? And that takes the identification away from the observer or the feeler or the sense of me which is feeling that. As soon as I put these two questions in mind, I think the dissociation happens as an answer to these questions.
Yeah. Inquiry, that's why it said mindfulness means open curiosity. You're curious, क्या हो रहा है? What's going on? What's going on within me? Then the kind of identification in that process is reduced substantially. Once you see it with a sense of curiosity. And then if you add the non-judgmental part, non-reactive part, then it is the issue of clear separation from what is going on. These are the things which tackle us. Judgment करने लगेंगे, reaction करने लगेंगे. So if you are aware that these are the rules of the game of seeing, then this identification is quicker. Then you don't get carried away by the kind of impact of the emotion. So the inner purpose is firstly to accept what it is. That is a simple thing. Not to resist what is. But resisting what is suffering.
Does he say that the inner purpose is more or to not to resist it? The way we are dance and say it.
Yeah, you see that. Because I listened to this dialogue on this tape on my journey in the car a number of times. I remember it. So शुरू करते हैं कि there's the inner purpose, there's an outer purpose. But we'll discuss outer purpose later. We'll first focus on inner purpose. अब discourse खत्म हो जाता है. So 1 hour then we discussing it. So what is the inner purpose? My inner purpose is to speak. What is your inner purpose? To sit and listen. Then he explains कि कहीं इसको गलत ना समझ ले. Then he explains that. कि किसी को बोलना है, किसी को ऐसा नहीं है. You are operator room. If I am sitting there and listen, you are sitting here, you speak. That's it.
Yes. So you already talked more.
I have already mentioned. So next is
Yeah, but I can just quickly read it. The question and
मैंने इसलिए बहुत बार सुना ना, इसलिए वो याद नहीं.
so following slides are the series of question and answers. So there are questions and then he answers. So most probably these questions were asked by in his talks which he has summed up in a book. And ultimately what I found was that he never uses the word mindfulness in this chapter, but what he eventually mentions is this mindfulness.
You use the word awareness.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So if somebody asks this basic question that I don't know what it is, but I want some change in my life, I want expansion, I want to be doing something meaningful, and yes, I want prosperity and freedom that comes with it, I want to do something significant, something that makes a difference in the world. But if you ask me what exactly I want, I would have to say that I don't know. Can you help me find my life's purpose? And this answer is very beautiful. Your purpose is to sit here and talk to me because that's what you are here and that's what you are doing. Until you get up and do something else, that becomes your purpose. So I think the message is clear that be in the moment. rather than in your thinking process which takes you to the past or the future. And the next question is that I think there is some misunderstanding here. For you, the purpose means what you're doing now. For me, it means having an overall aim in life, something big and significant that gives meaning to what I do, something that makes a difference. Shuffling of papers in the office is not it. I know that. And the answers which come out is that without living in alignment with your primary purpose, whatever purpose you come up with, even if it's to create heaven on earth, will be of ego or become destroyed by time. Sooner or later it will lead to suffering if you ignore your inner purpose. No matter what you do, even if it looks spiritual, the ego will creep in, how you do it, and so the means will corrupt the end. The common saying, the road of hell is paved with good intentions, point to this book and the walking across the room. The main purpose of turning the pages is to turn the pages. The secondary purpose is to find a phone number. The main purpose for walking across the room is to walk across the room. The secondary purpose is to pick up the book at the other end. And the moment you pick up the book, that becomes your main purpose.
So his expression is amazing.
So mainly trying to say what you are doing is good.
I read a story, similar story, long time back that this Vietnamese monk, his name is very difficult.
It's not
Yes. He used to live in France, and he still lives in France. So Frenchman used to come to his house every day, and he used to cook food, and both used to have dinner. And then the monk used to wash the dishes. So the Frenchman used to feel here, I am not contributing to this activity, so let me offer to wash dishes. So he says कि मैं dishes wash करना चाहता हूँ कल से. So he says कि do you know आपको आता है dishes wash करना? The Frenchman got offended. He said, what do you mean? Why dishes? Why do you wash dishes? So पूछा फिर monk ने से what is the purpose of washing dishes? He said it is to clean them. He said you don't know. So he says, please explain. He says, you have to wash dishes to wash dishes. So exactly. Only then they will become clean.
So the next question is that, would living like this not stop me from looking to achieve something great? My fear is that I will remain stuck with doing little things for my rest of my life, things that are of no consequence. I'm afraid of never rising above mediocrity, never daring to achieve anything great, not fulfilling my potential. And the answers he says is the greatest is the mental abstraction and the favorite fantasy of the ego. The paradox is that the foundation of greatness is honoring the small things of the present moment instead of pursuing the idea of greatness. The present moment is always all in the sense that is what is always simple, but concealed within it lies the greatest power. Through the present moment, you have access to the powers of the life itself, that which has traditionally been called God. As soon as you turn away from it, God ceases to be reality in your life, and all you are left with a mental concept of the God which some people believe in or others deny. Even belief in God is only a poor substitute for the living reality of the God manifesting the every moment of your life. So would complete harmony, so next question is that would complete harmony with the present not imply the cessation of all the movement? Doesn't the existence of any goal imply that there is a temporary disruption in the harmony with the present moment and perhaps a re-establishment of the harmony at a higher or more complex level once the goal has been attained? And the example the questioner wants to give is that I imagine that a sapling that pushes its way through the soil can't be in total harmony with the present moment, either because it has a goal, it wants to become a big tree, maybe once it has reached maturity, it will lie in harmony with the present moment. The question is very powerful, but I think the answer is also very beautiful. And the sapling doesn't see itself as a separate from the life, so wants nothing from itself. It is one with what life wants. That's why it isn't worried or stressed, and if it has to die prematurely, it dies with ease. It has surrendered in the death as it in the life. In senses, no matter how obscurely its rootedness in being the formless and the eternal one life. And while nature is a beautiful expression of the evolutionary impulse of the universe, when humans become aligned with the intelligence that underlies it, they will express the same impulse or higher, more wondrous level. When you meet the people at work or whenever it may be, give them the fullest attention. You are no longer there primarily as a person, but as a field of awareness of alert present. The original reason of interaction with other person, buying or selling, requesting or giving information or so on, now becomes secondary. I think the same theme is again coming again and again. So the next question is a notion of success just an egoic illusion? How do we measure the true success? And the answer, the conventional notion of the success is concerned with outcome of what you do. Don't let the mad world tell you that the success is anything other than a successful present moment. There is a sense of quality in what you do, even the most simple action. Quality implies care and attention, which comes with awareness. Quality requires your presence. The unconscious assumption behind all such actions is that success is a future event and that the need justifies the means. But the end and the means are the one. And if the means does not contribute to human happiness, neither will the end.
It's a very powerful concept. This is so
अभी तो बहुत मुश्किल है, कठोर है, परेशानी है, दुख है, बाद में सुख हो ही जाएगा.
सब कम्युनिज्म कैपिटलिज्म सब इसी में
नहीं सर, यहाँ पर ना थोड़ा सा पैराडॉक्स आता है. जैसे कि हम बच्चों को जब समझाते हैं, बेटा मेहनत करो क्योंकि मेहनत करने का बाद में फल अच्छा होता है, अभी तो मेहनत कर रहे हो. दैट इज एक्चुअली reinforcing the fact कि अभी पेन्स लो तो बाद में फ्रूट्स मिलेंगे.
You have to use that language ना, बच्चे को तो वही लैंग्वेज यूज कर रहे हैं. मुश्किल हो जाएगा, उसको कहोगे टेक इट, लेट गो, ठीक है लेट गो.
But so then it becomes part of your life. That's how you live.
और a child, that is the paradox. The biggest problem तो ही है ना, बच्चे की, छोटा बच्चा है, infant है खास, when the child is born, how will child survive unless he has pleasure pain principle embedded in the child? Survive नहीं करेगा. उसको बच्चे को तो रोना ही पड़ेगा जब वो टेस्ट में है. अदरवाइज केयर गिवर मदर विल नेवर नो बच्चों क्या हो रहा है.
तो हम थोड़े से आगे जाएं, स्कूल गोइंग चिल्ड्रन.
So now that is coded in the genetic code of human race. So pleasure, pain, you have to respond. Pleasure को hold on, pain को repel करना. And that is why because of survival. So survival instinct. And that survival instinct will operate with everybody other than a Buddha. अगर शेर आएगा तो हम सबको समझदारी इसी में है कि भाग लें वहां से. इसमें कोई वो नहीं है कि मैं अपनी शक्ति दिखाऊंगा और उसको शांत कर लूंगा. Never try to do that.
I have a story on this.
इनफैक्ट गोल्डस्टीन की स्टोरी है इसमें, जिसमें गोल्डस्टीन की वो किसने बताई, गोल्डस्टीन. वो एक बार कोई वो आया था, fierce dog was there, entered into the center or something. तो उसको याद आया कि वो महका करने से वो शांत हो जाता है, तो let me practice महका. And then he said, it beat me. And I know why it was me. Because I was practicing method to calm him down. So the things are very, very, there's a big paradox involved in it. Effort has to be done, yet we have to transcend the effort. So even for us, even in the Eightfold Path, there is Samma Vayama also. Samyak Vayama, effort, right effort, to hold on things, to avoid that. So we have to see how it is to be done. Otherwise, वही बात हो जाती है फिर. You can easily go into inaction mode and acceptance of what is there. Accept कर लिया. Why to get up and why to do anything?
So this thing that the ends and the means are the one. Yes. And the means.
So if the means are painful, if we teach children in a painful manner, then obviously that's why so much emphasis कि बच्चों को भाई unnecessary exam मत लो, उनको पढ़ने में इच्छा पैदा करो. Teach them in a manner that they get motivated to study rather than thrusting them to study.
अगर बच्चा नहीं पढ़े तो क्या करें?
Then there are two possibilities. Either the teacher is not able to teach properly and create a interest in this, or we are not identifying what the child has the interest. मैंने एक वीडियो आपको मैंने भेजा कि नहीं, ये वो उनको IIT वालों टीचर्स को भेजा था. There was a small video called Class of Rowdies. तो एक क्लास है जिसमें बच्चे स्कूल में पता है कि इस क्लास को पढ़ाने नहीं जाना चाहिए, बहुत डेंजरस क्लास है. क्या है कि वो बैठ के हंगामा खड़ा रहेंगे, वो कोई कुछ बनाएगा और फेंक देगा, कोई कुछ करेगा, कोई कुछ करेगा. So a new teacher goes there and she faces it. तो वापस आते वो रोती थी, क्या करूँ मैं इसका, मुझे ऐसी क्लास दे दे जो बाकी पढ़ाते नहीं है, मैं अगर नई टीचर है तो भेजो उसको दो. And then she sits and reflects. उसके बच्चे में तो कर क्या रहे हैं, एरोप्लेन बना रहे हैं, फेंक रहे हैं, कोई कुछ वो कोई और किताब पढ़े जा रहा है, कोई स्टोरी पढ़ रहा है, कोई पोएम लिख रहा है. Why not ask them to do what they want to do? So she changes the whole class standard. Okay, I understand you are very talented people. So please tell us what you want to do. एक बच्चे को बुलाती है, you speak out whatever you want to speak. And then he speaks out on certain topic of interest to him. It's not stupid, it's a certain topic of interest to him. Politics or education or philosophy or whatever, or aerodynamics. तो जो हवाई जहाज बनाता है, तुम क्यों बना रहे हो? तो वो मैंने नेट से देखा था कि हवाई जहाज ऐसे उड़ता है, तो मैंने सोचा करके देख लेते हैं. Then you go and study there and tell us what is aerodynamics about it. Imagine a school boy saying all that. So the whole tenor of the class changes. Become the most silent and listen to each other. क्या कह रहे हैं ये क्या कह रहा है, ये क्या कह रहा है, ये क्या कह रहा है. और जो एक लड़की होती है उसमें डिप्रेस्ड रहती है, हमेशा वो पोएम लिखती रहती है, तो कोई उसको सुनता ही नहीं, तो उसको मजा उड़ाते थे. तो वो उसकी पोएम को बड़ी अच्छी है, तो शी अप्रिशिएट्स द पोएम. उसको खड़ा होकर कहती है अगर पोएम सुनाओ. The whole tenor of the class changes because children are doing what they want to, and then from there the learning is. So no, that is a very difficult thing to introduce in a school.
अगर हम घर पे देखते हैं, लेकिन हम देखते हैं कि बच्चे भी कहते हैं कि उनका ना मीन्स और एंड में भी फर्क होता है. अगर हम बोलेंगे कि बच्चे पढ़ लो और अगर वो नहीं पढ़ना चाहते हैं और हम पूछेंगे कि नहीं पढ़ना चाहते तो क्या करना चाहते हैं, देंगे मैं खेलना चाहता हूँ और टॉय से खेलना चाहता हूँ. तो हाउ लॉन्ग कैन वी से कि तुम टॉय से खेलना चाहते हो तो खेलते रहो.
That's a way of doing it, no? It's not. I know it's very difficult.
Because the parent will always say कि मुझे अपने डॉग के साथ खेलना है.
But I tell you, जो स्कूल है ना, जैसे free progress education, मेरा बेटा उसमें पढ़ रहा था, मेरा अंबिका में, I don't know, visited that. So at least in the beginning, the situation was there कि वो बच्चों को जहाँ जाते थे तो वहाँ books पढ़ी रहती थी लाइब्रेरी में. You just open and see whatever you like. So they would open and see, but colorful books like this, that. So they would see, ये ऐसा है, ये ऐसा है, इसी कुछ पसंद आया, किसी कुछ पसंद आया, and they would study. अपने आप पढ़ेंगे जो कहानी अच्छी लग रही है, ये लग रही है, but they have been made in such a manner that in that story there is a message, or that in that story there is a doing. हमने जब वो सोसाइटी बनाई थी, सोसाइटी फॉर होलिस्टिक एजुकेशन, एंड वी हैड स्टार्टेड डूइंग सम सच थिंग्स। तो मान लो बच्चे का इंटरेस्ट है खेलने में, ही वांट्स टू प्ले, तो उसे कहा गया कि तुम बैडमिंटन खेलना है तो तुम बैडमिंटन का कोर्ट बनाओ, खेलना है तुमको तो कोर्ट बनाओ पहले, हमारे यहाँ तो है नहीं कोर्ट, कैसे बनाओगे? इज टू स्टडी उसकी लेंथ क्या होती है, विड्थ क्या होती है, किस तरह के है, रेक्टेंगल बनाना है ना, रेक्टेंगल बनाना पड़ेगा ना। अब जो भी फुल हो जाएगा कागज में रेक्टेंगल बनाओ बिल्कुल, क्या करूं, चित्र किसी बना लो, बनाएगा बनेगा नहीं, टेढ़ा मेढ़ा हो जाएगा डायरेक्ट। So you're teaching him how to, you're teaching him geometry. It's not necessary to teach him in a boring manner. You can teach him in a manner that he can understand. But that needs huge effort on the part of teachers and the school and the whole education curriculum. आपको बच्चे को, मैंने एक बुक लिखी थी, स्मॉल बुकलेट, इंटीग्रेटेड टीचिंग। आप बच्चों को इसमें सब्जी मंडी ले जाइए, ठीक है, एंड टेल हिम टू सी कि क्या हो रहा है, क्या कर रहे हैं लोग। जैसे मान लो रात को कई बार, एक आध बार मैं गया था, सचिन काइंड ऑफ थिंग, मतलब बिल्कुल ऐसा लगता है जैसे क्या हो रहा है, लोग चल रहे जा रहे हैं, यूँ कर रहे हैं, इतने एक आलू पड़े हैं और उसको तोड़ कर रहा है और दे रहा है, तो देखे जाए उसको क्या हो रहा है, जस्ट टॉक टू देम, व्हाट आर यू डूइंग, मेजर कर रहे हैं, ये कर रहे हैं, क्या भाव दे रहे हो, पता कर लिया उसने, देखिए 2 रुपए किलो दे रहा है, घर पे हमारे 10 रुपए किलो देता है, ये क्या चक्कर। चिल्ड्रन बिकम क्यूरियस ना, जाके माँ को बताएगा वहां 2 रुपए मिल रहे थे, तुमके 10 रुपए किलो मिलती है, ये क्यों है, तो टीचर से पूछ के परेशान मत करो। तो मैं टीचर भी फोर्स टू सी, और वहां पे देखा कि किसी ने वो जो तराजू है वो 1 किलो तोल रहा और 10 किलो तोल रहा और निकल रहे 9 किलो, खरीद के लिए 10 के 9 कैसे निकल गए। स्टूडेंट अंडरस्टैंड कि तराजू में गड़बड़ भी हो सकती है, देन इसको अंडरस्टैंड कि एथिकल है कि अनएथिकल है। सो दी एंड देन यू टू सी कि वहां पे क्लीनलीनेस नहीं है, सफाई नहीं रखी हुई, अच्छा नहीं लगेगा। सो व्हेन अ चाइल्ड इज विजिटिंग दैट अंडर द गाइडेंस ऑफ द टीचर एंड कम टू कहा जाए इसमें क्या देखा तुमने, देन यू राइट डाउन क्या क्या देखा और क्या क्या सीखा, एंड देन द टीचर हैज टू ड्रॉ योर चाइल्ड्स अटेंशन टू द एथिकल डायमेंशन, टू द क्लीनलीनेस, to the weighing process, to the sale and profit, to the process of retail and difference between retail and wholesale. All those concepts can be taught by just doing it. Teaching करेगा, that is the problem.
और घर पे क्या करेंगे, एक सिंपल एग्जांपल होमवर्क है, बच्चा होमवर्क नहीं करता,
तो उसके लिए तो when you are caught in a situation क्या कर सकते हैं,
हमारी परिस्थिति ऐसी,
you are caught in a system,
Can you make that at least easy कि बच्चे के साथ कैसे इजी कर सकते हैं, तो एटलीस्ट जो चीजें हम अगर हम ब्रॉड लेवल पे नहीं चेंज कर सकते कि अगर हम इस तरह के प्रोग्रेसिव एजुकेशन अवेलेबिलिटी नहीं है तो सर इन कंस्ट्रेंट्स में क्या किया जाए?
you can interact with the teachers and tell them to give a homework in an interesting manner. You can help the school and as well as help the child. क्योंकि फॉर्मेटिव पीरियड में बच्चे अगर ओपन रहे ना तो बहुत फर्क पड़ता है।
इधर हमारे से मेरे बेटे ने कहा कि इतने मैंने स्कूल में जाना था, मेरे तो बहुत लगा मैंने कल कांड आएंगे मैंने कल फिर मैंने वो कभी कभी पढ़ना कभी क्या करेगा तो आधा तरफ से कम से कम पढ़ाई पढ़ाई तो करेगा, इसी चीज में क्या करेगा। ये तो
फर्स्ट में थे, फर्स्ट में क्या लोअर केजी में थे, जो वर्किंग ऑन मैकिंटॉश,
मैंने देखा तो वो
क्या है मैंने तो देखा ही नहीं।
वो एक हफ्ते में एक टॉपिक में जैसे हिस्ट्री का है या ज्योग्राफी का है या मैथ्स का, एक सब्जेक्ट को देते, ये बड़ा
35 मिनट लोगों का,
हाँ वो नहीं समझ में आता। मतलब एक हफ्ते तक आप अपने आप ढूंढो क्या करो, एक हफ्ते तक एक मैथ्स पढ़ेंगे बच्चे, टीचर मैथ्स ही कराएगा उनको सारा, 8 से 4
बच्चे को जो मन आता है पढ़ने का वो पढ़ लो। अब आपको बच्चा खेल रहा है तो खेल में भी आप उसे पढ़ा सकते हैं। मैं कई बार बच्चों को कहता था कि अगर आपको ट्रिग्नोमेट्री पढ़ानी है बच्चे को, बड़े बच्चे को, इट इज मच बेटर टू टीच इट ऑन योर ग्राउंड। आप एक पोल खड़ा कर दो और उसकी शैडो देख लो, बच्चे को देखो कैसे चेंज होती है शैडो। He not only understand trigonometry, he will understand the movement of Earth around the sun, he will understand the solar energy, you'll understand